Hi there. There's a word that I have for climate deniers. Both it turns out that the East Anglia leaks of emails that are called ClimateGate are possibly and quite likely caused by the same guy that did the other hacking for News of the World, while he was also assisting the Scotland Yard to investigate, which we now know that Scotland Yard was corrupt and completely infiltrated by the whole mentality. So everything that climate change deniers have thrown at us based on that was nonsense. We knew that from the beginning, and actually I downloaded all those emails and studied them and proved it showed very strong trends, but still people are trying to make something out of that. While 141 million Americans are now smoldering in the heat under the heat dome in the US, I guess there's a point that we will reach pretty soon, that the only word that these people will be thinking of is this word. Hide. Hide for your life. Run for your life. If you're a active climate change denier, anthropomorphic global warming denier, if you say that we'll find a technological solution to the problem, just like Reagan did when he started to ignore it, and Lomborg still does, if you keep twisting the facts and keep going to discussions, at a certain point people will simply be fed up with it. And especially the people that are now under this heat dome, and there are quite a lot of them, apparently almost half of the US population, which reportedly are becoming more aggressive and more suicidal. So you're gonna have trouble there. Apart from the fact that there's a new drug, apparently it's called bath salt, and people keep calling it bath salt because it's sold under that name, but they're basically synthetic LSD type drugs that cause you to think you can fly and all that stuff, just like in the 70s, only this time a little bit more serious. And it's freely available for a very low price, and you can get it everywhere, apparently in the US, and it's taking this country by storm. People die of hypothermia, overheating, shooting themselves in the head. It's also very problematic if you do that and think it's no problem. And that's also happening. So it's almost like it's like somebody is taking the US and saying, well, we're now going to screw you over. I guess people are not really aware of it. So I suggest two names. CLIMAGEDDON. CLIMAGEDDON is the heat dome, and it's coming back next year and the year after that, quite likely. It's disturbing the jet streams. It's disturbing the highest circulation patterns we have in the Earth, which were also disturbed by emissions affecting the ozone over the South Pole, and that's why I believe the North Pole. That's why that place was so hot, 12 degrees hotter than usual, and it's just a big mess, and you have to respond to it. So maybe people respond if you call it CLIMAGEDDON. It's like, Carmageddon. That was a complete success. Everybody realized that they did not want to be in a traffic jam on a highway that was being reconstructed. Well, maybe you don't want to be in a traffic jam which is called the Earth, and you will never be able to get out of it. That's CLIMAGEDDON. And then another one related, and now I have to think because it's CLIMAGEDDON and Deathmageddon. Deathmageddon, this is the other one. So CASHMAGEDDON, maybe we should call it CASHMAGEDDon. That's when 2nd of August, the Fed declares itself bankrupt, and the US defaults on its debts. That should not be a problem if it weren't that people, let's say, naturally, if you have a fiat currency and you can no longer pay the interest on your debts, then the people that have bonds simply don't get interest payments. I don't think that's the end of the world. That means that they'll get less yield, in the time that they expected. But that's the whole thing about this whole financial thing. It's not about finances, it's about energy, it's about oil, it's about being able to purchase things overseas and being able to secure the energy for the producer, using that money, and being able to enforce that through military. And clearly the US is failing to do that, so now it has to default on its debt. It can no longer steal what it needs, so it has to start working for what it needs, and for that it is completely unprepared. Maybe I'm not right, maybe I'm too pessimistic, but there's one, let's say, as a President Obama, I would say, well, okay, I don't mind, let the Debtmageddon strike, or CASHMAGEDDon, and let's be shit out of luck with our money. Let's all go back to a lean economy, with very high fuel prices and everything. Let's just restrict everything, and then if you want people to work for each other and want to be able to exchange goods and services while they don't trust the dollar and they don't want to experience inflation, you bring in circulation those 2 billion quarter dollars or whatever they had produced and weren't using, because there's a big warehouse somewhere with millions of dollars, physical coins, that you can use, and you can simply give them a different value or a different meaning, because nobody's using them yet, and they have a year. So you can simply, it's like, maybe you don't have the gold to do that, and you don't have the silver to do that, but you do have the tokens to do that, and they will be physical, and you cannot really adulterate them. So, but last thing I want to say is that there's a difference, and that's why I think that the climate people should go in hiding pretty soon, when the public opinion has been pushed enough by the reports of deaths on the elderly, and basically the suffering people experience, and the fact that there's no food because nothing is going to grow in the heat. And it's an important region where all kinds of crops are being grown, and so the US will have to import, but it's bankrupt. So what's it going to buy the wheat in foreign countries with? It will have to ask for it. That's what a default also means. But the banks are actually on the side of life. They're basically, by restricting finances and by making these problems, even though they are enriching themselves in the most outrageous way, and so there should be some egotistic assholes there that simply should not have possession of what they have been amassed, have amassed over the years. There simply, in my opinion, there simply shouldn't be rich people. There shouldn't be people sitting on their ass, having everything and not doing useful stuff with them. And then if you are industrious, then you should not be industrious based on oil, because then you're not really doing the right thing. You should be industrious based on renewable, which is perfectly possible. So that's what you should do. That's wisdom. But at least they have been indirectly reducing emissions and protecting some of the life that is now being threatened by these heightened emissions, acidity, pollution, fracking, all that stuff. But the global warming deniers and the people that have spread the propaganda that is not true, amongst which of course Rupert Murdoch and his son and whoever works with him, and I believe Alex Jones for a bit, and I still don't think Alex Jones is any use to anybody. My advice to Alex Jones is take a break. Take a break of a week and try to think of nothing. Then take a pencil and a piece of paper and make a priority of the problems that you think are important to your life, that you're talking about, and then only talk about the top 5, with real direct effects on your life, like the way because right now it's just a mess, I think. But the climate change deniers, the people that have spread false propaganda, starting with Ronald Reagan and Larry Summers and the whole clique of Republicans, like the whole concept of Republican Mr. Shimkus walking upright through life while he is preaching that in the Bible it says that God will not threaten the lives of humans. and then at the same time betraying religious people by adding a number of other phrases that are nowhere to be found in the Bible in a biblical tone. So God says that the earth shall not flood again to Noah, and money should be in my account. And he does that in front of Congress. So a guy with no respect for any reality at all, being a leader. It's like, a person like that should hide, I think.